Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. This is the first video of 2025. Pretty fun little reveals here for January 1st. Happy New Year, if you haven't heard it from me yet. Hopefully this year's another good year of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I mean, I think Konami's doing a solid job. It looks like products are already coming in a little hotter than they did last year. They were really light on products overall, so hopefully they keep that up and just keep up quality of products as well, which I think they've been doing decently, and hopefully it's just another good year of Yu-Gi-Oh! So today we have a new generic board breaker spell card for Alliance Insight, as well as two new TCG exclusive zombie support cards for Supreme Darkness, which for the TCG we're getting in like 3 weeks, so that's really hype, you know, paired with the new Eldritch support in Alliance Insight, paired with potentially Odeon's deck could have some zombie stuff in it. We'll have to see, but we'll get to those in a sec. Also, Delta of Temptation is in Supreme Darkness as well, so decent zombie stuff coming in for 2025. All right, anyway, this card, we're going to start with this one, the Alliance Insight Board Breaker. This is Gordian Schneider. It is a normal spell card. I love the name, Gordian Schneider. I don't even know why, I just like it. This card's activation effect cannot be negated. So they can respond to this card to potentially dodge it, but they cannot negate it, which is interesting. And this effect reads, at the start of your main phase, target any number of face-up cards on the field, banish one card from your hand or 6 from your extra deck for every target, face down, then return those targets to the hand. This card's interesting. I think my overall landing spot on this card is that it has too many restrictions. This card, I mean, we've seen much better board breakers that don't have nearly as many restrictions. Like we've seen more impactful board breakers that have less play around and way less restrictions. So for me, the restrictions like pile up. There's so many to mention here. The first one, at the start of your main phase. So you cannot be like, this is one of those normal spell board breakers that is unthrustable, because you'd have to activate this as a main phase. So getting this off thrust makes it dead. 2, it targets, you know, we've seen Dark Ruler, we've seen Droplet, stuff like that. Unless you're like Ultimate Slayer, and even though it targets, you still get to Foolish Burial the monster you're sending from extra before your opponent even has a chance to like dodge it or anything. So that makes this card worse in that regard. So the targeting hurts. Second, and then thirdly, you have banishing from hand or extra. This is tough, right? So one, you don't want to lose extra hand economy for like no reason. Not that it's no reason, but I'm not sure the payoff on this card is quite strong enough to warrant losing 1 to 2 extra cards from hand. So, you know what I mean? If you're trying to bounce 2 like monsters on the field, you are giving up like 3 cards in hand to do it. And of course, you have to, if you want to not lose advantage from hand, you have to be playing a deck that really doesn't care much about the extra deck, because even if you're only bouncing 1 card, you have to give up 40% of your extra deck. If you want to bounce 2, you're talking 80% of your extra deck, and face down. That's another huge problem too. I believe the way this is worded, the face down also applies for the cards you're banishing in hand. So I'm pretty sure even if you're doing Malice or Thunder Dragon, I think they're getting banished face down. So the synergy there is not even working. And it's all to just bounce targets to the hand. That's my last kind of problem with this card, is we see Ultimate Slayer shuffling cards back. Now I know Ultimate Slayer is targeting extra deck monsters, so it could be a bounce and it'd be kind of the same. But if you have to target a main deck monster or 2 to clear it off the field, you're just bouncing it to hand. They keep the advantage. That's really, really rough. So for me, I think this card has too many restrictions. Is there a world where it's like okay? Yeah, because it can't be negated. So I guess like if there is like a format where your opponent just there is one sticky, problematic extra deck boss monster in a matchup, and you're just like, I need to clear it. So this is a side deck card, and start a main phase 1, I'm just like, bounce that shit. I'm playing a deck that doesn't need the extra deck that much, so I'm banishing 6 cards from there, and I'm bouncing it. I used 1 card, I handled your card, kind of thing. But that even then, we're just talking about like kaiju levels of impact. So I'm out on this card. I think it's interesting. It's possible for a very specific scenario for this card to come up, but I'd say the same thing about kaijus these days. So that's kind of where I land on it. But let me know if you disagree. For sure. I like it. Like, maybe you can convince me that this card is better than I'm getting credit for, if I'm not fully getting it on first read. Okay, these cards to me actually are a little more interesting, though. The first one, by the way, I love, is Curse of the Ancient Turtle. If you can see, if you can't tell, there's like a silhouette of like of Pyramid Turtle, the old classic like goat format type card. Really good card in the past, in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! But I love that it's being represented here in the new form. There's a normal spell card. It allows you to banish one zombie monster from your hand or graveyard as cost, to send one zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard. Okay, so it's a foolish burial for zombies that requires just a slight bit of setup. I like that it can banish from hand too, so you don't even have to get something into grave yet. So it doesn't like force you to normal summon or anything, as long as you just have another zombie name. You can have a zombie brick in hand, right? And you're just like, let's just take care of this and get a foolish burial going, and let's get the zombie engine going. That's not the worst card in the world. I don't think it's going to be searchable, because it's called Curse the Ancient Turtle. It doesn't have anything really seeming to be searchable, but it's cool. Second effect, when your zombie monster is destroyed by battle specifically, you can banish this card from grave to special summon a zombie with question mark or less defense from your deck. I don't know what that is meaning. Maybe it's like because the text is kind of small here, they couldn't quite see what this is saying. So maybe it's like if a zombie monster is destroyed by battle, it's like summon a zombie monster with less defense than the zombie monster that was destroyed. Maybe it's something like that. That's normally what Konami likes to do there. Straight from your deck. So that's cool. It's like a bonus effect for sure, because it's battle related, and it's probably going to be dependent on your opponent in a lot of cases. But there are worlds where you could even push into your own battle phase to just crash and lose your monster, just to summon a better one from deck that gives you more active utility for what you're looking for. And also, once you put this in grave, it puts your opponent on notice of like, that's a resource. Like, that might deter your opponent from going crazy in battle phase, because they don't have an Ash Blossom for this, or they don't have a way to, like, you know what I mean? They're kind of scared of what you could summon. So I think this card's pretty decent overall. Again, like, it's not a starter, and it's like starter adjacent because it can banish from hand. I don't hate it, is where I leave on it. I don't hate it. All right, second card here is Dark Necromancer. This is a level 4 Dark Zombie. Excuse me. 1,000 attack, 1,400 defense. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send one fiend or zombie ritual monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Then you can add one ritual spell card from your deck to your hand. Whoa. That's really disgusting. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's just this card just reads like insane. What is that archetype? Oh my god, I'm blanking on that archetype right now. Vendread. This reads like an insane Vendread card. So you're telling me I normal summon this card as my starter? Again, I don't even know if Vendread has an actual good normal summon, aside from like, are we playing Uni Zombie just because it's generic zombie stuff? But being able to Foolish Burial one of the zombie ritual monsters for Vendread as cost, from the hand or deck to the graveyard, then just add a ritual spell from your deck to the hand. That seems really good. I don't know what Fiend ritual decks off the top of my head. I'm trying to think. Like, fairies have always been like the big ritual monsters, and maybe machines are the two biggest ones that I remember, but I'm sure there could be something. This does add any generic ritual spell, by the way. So even in another deck, you could potentially play this as a generic normal summon that's saying, like, do you play one copy of a Vendread? Do you play one copy of a Fiend ritual just to you play this card for, where you Foolish that, and then you're just able to add any ritual spell? I don't know. It's possible, though. Second effect, if this card is banished, you can target one of your banished level whatever or lower Fiend or zombie monsters, special summon it. Again, I don't know. Again, the translation, it seems like it was a little bit too small. they may not be able to get a clean look at it. But okay, also being able to get a zombie or fiend that's banished, back from the graveyard, I don't mind. And I'm assuming it wouldn't be able to summon itself. It would, you know what I mean? They probably would have just worded it that way. But, if you can, that's nice. That you don't even have to have any other prior setup. But it's hard to say at this point in time. So, yeah, I mean, listen, the zombie support doesn't blow me away, but they're TCG exclusive, so you never expect them to be that crazy. The artwork on this guy also looks quite cool. The Necromancer guy. And then the other ones here, we've already seen Twins of the Eclipse, we've already seen Evil Hero, Neos Lord, and we've already seen the new Mitsurugi archetype. So, cool stuff, just a little bit more information there. That still leaves like 11 unrevealed cards for the rest of Supreme Darkness. Yeah, that leaves us with 11 cards. Some of those could be TCG exclusives, some of those could be OCG imports. We'll have to wait and see how the breakdown goes there, but I'll still keep you up to date on everything as those get revealed. And also kind of a perfect time here because this card, I believe, is the 40th card revealed from Alliance Insight, which means we are exactly halfway through. We have 40 more cards to go in the next 3 weeks, which is a good place to be because it looks like there's a lot of either support, like not even support, doesn't even have to be, but like archetypal cards. It seems like a set that has a large amount of archetypal cards. It kind of looks like they've been going through some of the more generic cards. We're going to get the 4th most charming, most likely. Yeah, so I think this set's actually been shaping up pretty nicely so far. I will keep you up to date on everything else that gets revealed there, and stay tuned for that. So let's hit it. Let me know what you think of these new cards. I will keep you up to date on all things Yu-Gi-Oh! News going forward, so subscribe to the channel if you want more from me. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.